Alright, we got Dcap, we got Steve M, we got Walter Bunning, we got one-off SUP, S-U-P. Alright, who wants to load some 44 Magnum, some light cowboy action loads? How you doing, Steve M? Haven't seen you for a while. Hey, buddy. Grounds 28. Hey, hi, boy. What's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm running the rest of this out. I need to go buy some more number 5, and I'm just running this out. Second Amendment will not falter. I love that. Second Amendment will not falter. And the great thing, you don't need it until they try to take it. I love it. Let me move this back. Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Nice setup. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel. Second Amendment will not falter. I got to tell you, I started my channel because I got tired of people ripping at our Second Amendment. No, we got to stand. We got to stand strong. We can't let them. We can't let them take an inch. Why is it when we're the ones with the guns, we don't let them cross the line, do we? I like that. Second Amendment will not falter. Yeah, never ever will it falter. As long as there's good men behind those guns. That's what we need. Okay, Walter Bunning, you must have a good heater in that garage. Yes, I have it right here. And this is the first night I brought it out. I've got a little cold going on, and I see that Steve M been staying sick or busy. He's probably both. He's raising family, you know, family man here. Amen, brother. Yeah. So I'm getting ready to load some 44 Magnum. I came out here wanting to load, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn that thing on and go for it, you know. So that's what I'm going to do. Finishing up some powder in this, my Dillon here. Second Amendment says, let's look at California now with the new law, bah humbug. Yeah, that's, what do you say about California? What's going on there, you know? Come on, man. Right? Okay, you know what? Talk about allowing something to slide so far, you know. That's crazy. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move that in. Get you as close as you can see. Well, let me tell you what I have. I have a drink here. I have lemon juice, honey, hot water, and a little something else in it. I won't tell you what it is, but you know it helps you. I'm taking what my wife call it. I don't know what she calls it. It's I'll think of it. But vitamin C and this other herb she gave me. Yeah. Yeah, take the good people out and let the rest falter. That's where California's at. All right, man. We're gonna zoom in here. I got the scale set up, man, and yeah. All I need is enough room that you guys can see that scale. That's all. So yeah, I came out here. It's almost 8 o'clock my time. I thought, you know, I'm gonna knock some 44 out. 44 man, woohoo! Wow, I'm seeing so many new people. Water is good for you. Yeah, I drink a lot of water. Crown Royal. I'm gonna say something, okay? You guys know I got a Bible study. I don't push God in people's face. So I don't. Some of my best friends don't believe in Jesus, right? I don't. Oh, my wife said echinacea. I'm taking echinacea and vitamin C, and of course my drink. So in my drink, yeah, I've got a little whiskey. I'm not really a big drinker. I've never been a big fan of beer, you know. Actually, I like a strong beer, to be honest with you, and I like apple beer, but I'm not really a big drinker. I like Jack Daniels. No problem. I can drink Jack Daniels right out of the bottle, but I don't have a desire for it. But you'll very rarely hear me talking about alcohol because people struggle with that, right? One day I'm going to be before God. I don't want to have to tell God that, you know, I did something in front of someone that weakened them, that put them back down a path. I had a lot of alcoholics in my family growing up, and I saw what it did. Horrible, horrible, horrible mess, horrible disaster. And so you won't hear me talking a lot about alcohol. I just don't go there. So, and this is what I'll tell you. If you're an alcoholic, you shouldn't be drinking. I can drink because I have no addiction to it. I really don't drink it that much, but it sure makes for a good remedy with some honey and some lemon. So there we go. Not trying to, okay, bullets for brains. It's Red Bull for the male alcohol would knock me out. You're so funny. Okay, so 44 Magnum. Okay, one thing about 44 Magnum. Okay. In my safe, which I can't get into at the minute because you guys are in the way, flat in the way, my oldest 44 Magnum, oldest to me, I've had the longest. I've shot, I don't know, 8,000, 10,000 rounds through a lot. You don't do that with Magnum loads, okay? But you do that with reduced loads. But what you don't want to do, you don't want to take a 44 Magnum and turn it into a 44 Special. I'm not talking about the gun, I'm talking about the cartridge. You don't take a cartridge meant for a 44 Magnum and begin reducing it so low that you're running it at 44 Special velocities. If you want to do that, then you go to 44 Special, okay? One thing that happens with a high capacity cartridge case, okay? When you are running reduced loads, there's a point, you know, your pressure will be dropping off like this, but there's a point where the pressure just drops. It just drops right out from under you. So if you're taking a 44 Magnum and you're running reduced loads, and that's okay for cowboy action shooting, you can pull it off with 44 Magnum. But if you know, the recoil is less and less and you're thinking that's great. So if you think of reducing that load any further, you think you're doing this, oh no, all of a sudden it does this. And then guess what happens? All of a sudden you stack the entire barrel full of bullets. You can stack 5 or 6 bullets right in there, won't even know it. You can shoot it off so fast, pop, 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 and all those bullets, they're stuck in that barrel. So you don't want to do that. And another thing, with 44 Magnum, you can run reduced loads, but when you start reducing them too far down, you'll lose your accuracy anyway. So then you would want to go to that 44 Special case, because then you can run that, you know, a nice comfortable load and hold and maintain accuracy. Okay, so don't try to take the 44 Magnum cartridge and reduce it to a 44 Special. It just isn't made that way. Now, you can take the 44 Magnum revolver and you can shoot both 44 Special and 44 Mag through it. Okay, so I'm just going to start out here. What I have, these are cases that I've cleaned from the past. And now, because I shoot 45 Colt, make sure you don't have 45 Colt mixed in with all this. I did that the other night on a live stream because I threw it together real quick and I was in a hurry. And I got a 45 Colt mixed in the batch. So you don't want to do that. That's another thing. If you're shooting 45 Colt, make sure you don't get a 44 mixed in there, because you can chamber a 44 into a 45 chamber. Okay, you don't want to do that. So first thing you're going to do, this is just something that I do. I have all my cases head up. Okay, primer up, primer pocket up, and I'm inspecting them. Making sure that they're all 44 Magnum. Another thing, if one's a 44 Special, it will ride lower, so you'll see. You can pick it right out, okay? So, all right. Hang on. I want to swap a case out here. This is a Starline case, okay? On my Starlines, Okay, let's talk about this. I try to keep my star line segregated. For reduced loads, just out blinking loads, I don't worry about matching my cases. But for my heavier Magnum loads, I'll run the same head stamps for those, especially when I'm starting to get up there, you know, the higher velocities, really pushing my hard cast bullets hard, or whatever bullet I'm pushing hard. Then you get into those heavier pressures, or think higher muzzle energy, then I match the same head stamps then, okay? Why is that? All right, Terry Holland, hey brother. Why would I not really care about mixing my cases for reduced loads, but for higher loads, heavier loads, higher internal case pressures? Why would I be more observant of that? The reason is this. As an example, if we're seating a bullet and we are seating to a particular depth, if something happens, you begin seating deeper into that raises internal pressures, okay? Cases have different case manufacturers have different case wall thicknesses. If you have one case that has a slightly thicker case wall, that's going to reduce the amount of capacity in that cartridge, and that's going to up your pressures a little bit, right? So we want to keep that uniform, so those are all the same. The other thing, when we're talking about a heavier Magnum loads, we're really talking about accuracy. Not that we're not talking about accuracy here, but what tends to happen with reduced loads is we start pulling our shots off quicker. You know, it's just how it is. That's not to say that someone that shoots Bullseye doesn't really, you know, those guys are good, right? And they're shooting for accuracy. So then maybe you most definitely would want to match your cases for that. Whenever you're loading for accuracy, match the same head stamp. But for what I'm doing here, I'm just going out. Who knows what I'm going to end up doing with these, you know? Going out, I see a rabbit moving, whatever I want to shoot, whatever I want to shoot, I'm just going go, right? Put a big heavy Magnum. Now there's another thing with the heavy Magnum, our crimp. We need a uniform crimp. If you have different cases from different manufacturers, you're going to have different lengths of cases, and that's going to affect. Now think about this. If we have higher internal pressures on a big heavy 44 Magnum, and you set that crimp to a case that's a little shorter, well, now you bring a case that's a little taller and you crimp that hard, now you just increase the pressures, didn't you? So on a heavy 44 Magnum load, match the cases and make sure that they're uniform in length. And when that brings us to this, when guys say, do you trim pistol cases? No, I'm not going to trim these. Are you kidding? I'm going to go out bang, 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 bang. I don't have time. But you know what? On a big heavy Magnum, when I'm really getting up there, if I need to uniform those, I'll do it. Okay? So, all right. So now what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and call out our recipe. Let me tell you the bullet that I'm loading. Let me tell you what I can do with this. I can go out for fun, bang bang trigger time. I've already cleared it, already checked it. My wife can shoot this. With these loads, my wife can shoot these all day long. So I have two Ruger Super Blackhawks, just identical. The other one has the rosewood grips on it still. Those will be more conformed to her hand. With these loads I'm working at, she can shoot them all day long. Okay, so this is a nice round. The other thing, to get 10,000 rounds out of a revolver, you're not doing that with these heavy Magnum loads. You're just not. So the bullet we're using, these are by Oregon Trail. These are a 200 grain round nose flat point bullet. Okay, now here's something. Here's something I want you to ponder. When you're talking about purchasing, you're looking at purchasing a bullet, okay? These bullets, the diameter of these bullets are .431. Okay. Years ago, I would shoot another hard cast bullet. They came in. They were lubed just like these, or they were moly coated. Okay. They still leaded. Even a 200 grain bullet. Oh, they didn't lead in the first 100 or 200 rounds. But after a while of shooting, you lost accuracy and you begin having leading issues. And now, the worse the leading issues and the higher the pressures, check it every time, the more we begin having our leading spitting out of here and our carbon. You don't want that. When that's happening, you're killing your gun, you've lost your accuracy, okay, it's not working for you. So the bullets that I was shooting had a diameter of .430, okay? A pure lead bullet, I suppose for conversation's sake you could say, you know, you could shoot it, but that's not really not practical because bullets aren't pure lead. Okay, you got a soft cast and a hard cast. Okay, but even a soft cast bullet, I could get away with actually shooting a soft cast bullet out of any revolver I want, as long as the diameter of that bullet is fit to where it seals the bore. Our 44 Magnum is a .429 diameter. Do you understand something here? These bullets by Oregon Trail, they do not lead. I can put 500 of these through this revolver in a day and it'll be just as clean as when I started. But if this bullet was a .429 diameter, the same diameter as my bore would begin leading. Because when this bullet is going down that bore, the gas, what do we need to make this work? We need heat. So we need heat. Heat's our friend, but it's also your opposition. Because it's trying to get around this bullet. Once that bullet, that heat, the gases slip around that bullet, it begins melting that bullet. And all the way down the bore you get slag. So you can take the hardest hard cast bullet, the best performing bullet, and if it's not sized properly, you will get leading. You with me? So years ago I was shooting these hard cast bullets. They were, say, I don't know what the Brinell hardness was on them, but they were of a diameter of .430. 100, 200 rounds, I was fine. But after that, I started having problems. Now, when I started amping those bullets up, even though they were hard cast, and really start getting the big magnums through there, game over. Frustration, going home, you're scrubbing lead out of the bore, and you're like, these aren't working. So what we have here, Oregon Trail, this is a .431 diameter bullet. That's the diameter. It's 2 thousandths larger than the .429 diameter 44 Magnum bore that we're running with, okay? We're talking about the modern 44 Magnum, okay? Now, there's two things that this bullet's going to do so we don't lead. One, it's slightly oversized, so we seal. Okay, we have this will seal in that bore. Two, the alloy and the silver. It's the real silver bullet. This is a Brinell hardness of 24. Your jacketed bullets can have a Brinell hardness of 50. That's hard on a barrel. My Ruger that I have 10,000 rounds through, if I'd have been shooting jacketed bullets through there, that barrel will be close to being worn out, maybe worn out. The more pressures, the higher Magnum rounds I'm running with those jacketed bullets, the harder it is. But this is a 24 Bernil hardness bullet. This means this will hold its form, it won't lead, it will seal the bore, and you won't wear it out. I will never wear my Rugers out with this, ever. We have accuracy, okay? So, this being a flat point, this is awesome for little rabbits, whatever, but this is great trigger time target practice right here, okay? That's our bullet. And you got to think a lot about your bullets, fit of your bullet, okay? So now our powder, Bullseye. We want a hot burning powder, a very hot burning powder. Why? These aren't Magnum loads. If you go to your powder burn rate chart, it starts with the faster down through mid-range, like your Unique as an example. Then it gets into the Enforcer and the H110 and the 2400. Those are your Magnum. Okay. On our Magnum powders, when we have combustion in the chamber, the Magnum powders are going to burn for a time into that bore. The difference between a hot or fast burning powder and a slow burning Magnum powder is duration, burn of duration over time. The Bullseye is very fast. It's going to spike up in the cartridge and it's going to completely burn before that bullet moves. Okay? Once that bullet moves, exits the muzzle, we go down to atmospheric pressure. There's nothing happening. It's all equalized. Okay? It's very fast. Okay? This means because it's a fast burning powder, it's not going to take much. This also means if you double charge it, bye-bye revolver. It's fast. It's hot. If you're running 17 grains of Hodgdon's H110 and you ran 17 grains of Bullseye, you would lose your entire hand. It's fast. It's too fast. But for what we want, the fast is perfect at the charges it's intended to be thrown at, which is a reduced, it's just a minimal charge, okay? So we're going to use the Bullseye. One of the oldest powders on the market. One of the most reliable you can get your hands on for this, okay? So then we're going to use primers. Just large pistol. Don't go Magnum. The book calls for large pistol primers, whatever you want. CCI 300s. You want Winchester large pistol. I got some Federals here. Okay, a large pistol primer. Okay, and then we have our cases. How are we doing? Am I doing okay? Okay, I want to talk. Tony Owens is asking, are those gas checked? Okay, all right. Don't move. For those that want to know what a gas check is, what a gas check is this. First, let's talk about theory that we have to understand. For the new reloader and the new shooter, when the bullet is in the case and we pull the trigger and we have ignition, the gases slam against the base of that bullet, okay? When it slams against that bullet, at the same time the case is obturating in the chamber. And this bullet is taking the full brunt of the forces in its obturating. The base is mushrooming and it's sealing against that bore. And remember, we just said the gas wants to beat that bullet out the muzzle. And if it can get around that, you've lost your bullet. It's accuracy, you've lost accuracy, you've lost velocity, you've got nothing, and you've got a bunch of sludge in your bore. So what we do is we take a gas check. It's hard. Think of a jacket bullet, and it hits that, the bullet holds its form, and we send it out. based off the rifling and our mass and velocity, we have accuracy. So he's asking, are those gas checked? They don't need to be. I'm telling you something. This bullet is from Oregon Trail. It's their True Shot line. They're jacketed. I called Brian, the owner of Oregon Trail. I said, Brian, because I shot these for decades. I said, why? I asked him, why are these jacketed? He said, because people ask. He said, they don't need to be. I said, I know they don't. Because I've ran my 44 Magnum. I have run my 44 Magnum hot, 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 hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds around. No letting. I was talking to Brian today. I'm going to be working with the 30-30 here in about 8 to 12 weeks. We're going to get a diet of 30-30 lever action rifles, and he's got a bullet I want to get my hands on. I'm telling you, you can run his bullet up to 1,500–1,600 feet per second, maybe a little more. And you don't need that jacket, but some of his bullets have it. But for what we're doing, you don't need it. These True Shot bullets. This is a 310 grain 44 Magnum. I was shooting this last year. Awesome bullet. You wouldn't need the gas check. Okay, but he puts them on the True Shot line. So did I do good on that? Anyway, TexPat. That's all I use for handguns is a Lee factory crimp die. Never have any issues. Yeah, the Lee factories, they sure work good. They do. I'm going to talk about the profile crimp I'm going to use by Rennie. Okay. So I think we got everything covered. Okay, these are the dies I'm using. What I like about this is a combo 44 special 44 mag die set. This is part number 88286. I love these dies. Okay. These are their titanium carbide. I'll show you what part is titanium carbide, and we'll get these set up. These are already resized in Dcap, but we'll go ahead and set the resized die up. The crimp die I'm using, this is a profile. What a profile crimp is, okay, you have a taper crimp. The taper, it just puts a slight taper on the mouth of the case. But what a profile does, it puts a taper and then a bit of a roll, okay? A taper is more than enough on these 200 grains. But the nice thing about this, in the loads that I worked up for my moose hunt last year, I didn't get to use my 44 for my moose, but this held 310 grains, a massive amount of muzzle energy. This did the job. Redding's got it down. Okay, so this is part number 86286. If you get this, you can crimp anything from your 44 special up to the meanest 44 mag you want to load up. Okay, so there you go. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this bad boy set up. The first thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and set our Resize and Dcap die up. I don't need to resize these, but we'll go ahead and set it up. For those that are new, that haven't heard the spill, we got to stress it because we always got new people coming on. These are titanium carbide, but it's not, the body isn't titanium carbide. That's hardened steel. The titanium carbide is this ring that runs around the interior of the mouth, okay? The titanium carbide makes it to where you don't have to lube. You can, it makes it easier, I agree, but you don't have to lube. It's harder, it's very hard. And think of a rock in a stream. The longer the water goes over that rock, the smoother it gets. That's how this is, it's smooth. That's why you don't have to lube these. But because it's harder, it's brittle. So therefore, we're not going to put any cam over in this. And you know what I forgot? I forgot my shell holder. Let me grab my shell holder. Number 11. So isn't it funny how you can be as organized as you want and you always have to look for the shell holder? You guys have that problem? Hey, oh Ironhead, brother, it's good to see you. Man, we got some people just jumping in. You guys are great. So we got our shell holder into place, and another star line. All right. So we got our shell holder into place. So go ahead, run your shell holder all the way up, and now we're going to take our resize die. Our resize die, we know it's our resize die because it has the decapping pin. The decapping pin adjusted about 3/8 out. Make sure it's centered. Okay. Run your lock ring all the way up. Get it threaded in there. Run shell holder up. Thread it down. Once you touch, you're done. Don't go any further. Okay, I'm touching. What you don't want to do, you don't want to drop the ram and go any further, because you're going to come up and you're going to compress against that and you're going to crack that titanium carbide ring. Okay, so just come down, touch it. Once you feel it touch, tighten your lock ring like that. And I don't have my Allen wrench. That's okay. So now it would go like this. You would put your case in there. You would come up. You would resize, decap this, but these are all done. These have been done for a number of years actually, and these I ran in the corn cob media, and you can tell it has that just that fine powder that you feel on there, and because I never ran the polish in with it. Sometimes I would, but I didn't like spending the money on it. It just had to be clean, and this is clean enough. So that's the first thing we need to do, resize and decap. Now what we're going to do, you can do this one of two ways. You can do this to where you are expanding the mouth of the case and you're seating at the same time, okay? Are seating the primer at the same time. And right now my mind is going back and forth from 45 auto of doing cases on the fly, resize decap, expand, prime, bam, done. Man, I work with too much equipment, too many calibers. Okay, so we're going to get our expander die set up. The expander die, how do you get an expander die set up? You don't know necessarily unless you know how it works. Okay? This is our expander die. What we have to do with this case, it's resized now. If we seat this bullet into that case, one, we're going to shave the bullet. Two, we're going to crumple the case. It's not going to work. Even if you got it to seat into this case, the neck tension is going to be so tight that you would bow the case and it wouldn't chamber into your revolver. Okay? Now listen very carefully to me. When you have your first completed cartridges coming off the line and it won't chamber, ask yourself, are you expanding the mouth enough? That's one key thing to that, okay? So we have to expand the mouth of this. Well, how does our expander work? The expander works like this. As we're coming in, you see it's rounded for ease of entry. This section right here, this does not expand it. This sets the neck tension. Think about it. We just said we can crumble this case. So it's going to set the neck tension enough that you can slip the bullet in there without crumbling the case, but yet you have enough neck tension that's kind of holding that bullet a little bit, because we need a little bit of that going on. Okay, we need that for uniform case pressures when it ignites. Okay, and then after we travel through this section, and this is unique to Redding, pull your die out and look. Pull the seat stem of your die out and look. If you don't have a Redding, right here, do you see this? That's a step. This isn't the expander yet. It's a step. Now what it's going to, and I'll show you this. I'll show you this. This is going to open it up a little bit so you can set the bullet into it. And this, that right there, bells the mouth of the case. Okay, so we have entrance, we have neck tension, we have it. Okay, we have entrance, neck tension, and then we have the step, and then the bell. 4 things going on there. Okay, you look at any other die that I've looked at them. Redding's the only one that steps it, so when you set the bullet in, it cradles it perfect. Let me show you. Okay, run your lock ring all the way up. Now, go ahead, run your shell holder all the way up, run it down. How am I doing? How am I doing? Okay. We're just touching the shell holder. Okay. Just barely touching. Run the lock ring down, and now run your seat stem up a little ways. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Let me pan in a little bit. All right. You see this seat stem? Back it out. Back it out like that. So the shell holder is just barely making contact with the mouth of the die. When I put the case in there, nothing is really happening. We're going to drop the case and start running this seat stem down. It's going to seem really long. That's right, because this also has to set up for 44 special, and that's a shorter case. Okay, so I'm adjusting this down, and I'm just working the case back and forth. When you've done this enough times, you get really quick at it. But I'm just going to go slow here. There's going to come a point where you're going to fill the case. What you're feeling for is a little bump right at the mouth of the case. That's all. Okay. Okay, I gotta zoom this off here. Okay. Bam. And Redding has that. If you look at that, just cradles that bullet in there. It's nice. It's what they engineer into that. It's the extra step, and they just do a fabulous job. Now, comparing this to now, listen to me. Okay, listen very carefully, because you don't want to load a batch of these up and get out, and then every third or fourth one's not chambering. We've got to think about something here. Think about this. This case unsized, bullet won't go. If I push that, I'm just going to crush that case and crumple it. It's going to wrinkle, it won't fit in that chamber. Okay. This one, we have it. We're not going to shave the lead on this bullet. It's going to seat. Perfect. But I want you to think about this. If you are running different manufacturers' head stamps of cases, and you have too much variation in length, if you don't have that set enough, you could bring another case in, or let's say a bunch of cases in that batch, and they're not going to be quite as perfect fit, and you're going to crumple the case. You won't see it with your eye, but your revolver will tell you when you go to load it. So make sure you don't want to over expand the mouth, but you want to make sure that you take 2 or 3 of those and check it to make sure that you have proper fit. Okay? Am I doing okay? Okay. Now, one more thing I want to, and then Walter's saying something. I'm not sure what it is, but one last thing. If you don't have enough flare on this, you can still seat the bullet and you won't mess the case up, but it can shave the bullet to where you have lead shavings around there, and when you crimp on that lead shaving, it's pulled off the bullet, but it's being held in there. So when you shoot that, when that bullet takes off, you got that lead shaving stuck to it, and it's going to stick right in the forcing cone of your revolver, and that's going to give you leading issues. And you think it's a bad bullet, but no, it's a bad job of expanding the mouth of your case. Just think about that. Let me repeat that for those that are new. Here's our revolver. Okay? If you don't have enough flare and that mouth shaves the base of that bullet and you got a little ring of lead, well, when that bullet seats and you crimp, that little ring of lead is going to stick right in that bullet. You're going to hold it with the mouth of the case. When you fire it, that bullet's going to fly into here, and that lead's going to start stacking up on you. Stacking up and stacking up. And now you got pressure problems and accuracy problems when it's spitting out, and you think, that's a bad bullet. No. You got to make sure you're expanding enough that you don't have that problem. Okay? Got to put my Ruger back together, man. Got to get the Ruger together. Oh, guys, I don't even know how to reload. I don't even think I can get this Ruger together. I probably can't. Sometimes they get to be so ornery. There we go. There we go. Okay, so, but we got this. I know I've got this. Just make sure that you know you've got it, okay? So now, what do you say, go ahead and we get our primer set up. We'll just get our primer set up just right now. We're going to get our primer set up. And, okay, I want to read some comments. First off, am I doing okay? I guess we all stuck a case on the top of the ram and there's no shell holder. Is it better to deprime before you run them in the tumbler? Oh. I gotta tell you guys something. This last batch of cases I'm running on this Dillon, I just threw them in there. They've been tumbled, and I'm just decapping them, and I'm going. I don't know. Just try it. You just gotta try it. You know. Every case that I have cleaned has been decapped before I cleaned it, but these have been cleaned, and I'm just trying with my Dillon. I think it'd be really neat to be able to go out and shoot my 9 or my 45 and literally clean it, dry it, and then put it in that case feeder and go for it. But I will have to tell you guys something. Happened to me. So I took these cases, not to get off track, but it's all good information. I took these cases, I tumbled them, you know, in the wet tumbler, and I dried them. So I began charging them, and I just thought I would check my charge. I took that case off my Dillon and checked it, and the powder was wet. The water is getting trapped in the flash hole inside that primer, and guess when it gets released? When you decap it, and that water goes everywhere. So I don't know. I'm experimenting with it. This batch was the end of this number 5, so if it doesn't work, I don't really care about the powder. I'm just going to go out and see how it works. So just got to try, you know, your own. But I will tell you something. Be careful with that. Because, man, if you get some powder that's wet, pull the trigger and it's not quite a full charge, and that bullet gets stuck in that bore, and the next one's a powerful one behind it, you just blew your gun up. So there is a lot to be said about decapping before you tumble it. Okay, so all right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and position the camcorder so you guys can see what's going on. You know, it's a live show, so we're just doing the best we can. I'm going to go ahead, and I don't have a lot of room, so I just have to be as careful as I can. Okay. One thing about Federal is, you know, their primer packages are a little larger, you know. Oh yeah. And then we got this. You know, I always forget about this. I gotta get, hang on, guys. Hang on. I just tear these safety tabs off. It's because I'm a rebel, you know, a rebel at heart. So we only want 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We only want 50. And I might drop some of these because I don't want to hit my camcorder, but I did it. So there we go. I use the lid because it's larger diameter than the base. Okay. And if you guys are coming to my channel because you want someone with grace, keep looking, man. I am not a graceful guy. So as you can see, they're all turning cup down. Get that one, just that one, but that's okay. Now I'm going to say something. Do what you want, but in my opinion, Redding has the best primer pickup tube. So we'll get this ornery one because it didn't want to flip over. And now, I mean, I don't have much room. I'm just telling you guys this. You know, I'll do this to where you can see it. Normally I can haul ass. I mean, normally I can really move quick, guys. But now, don't store your primers in anything other than what they come in. Okay, all your reloading manuals tell you that. This is the one component that's dangerous. Not that powder isn't, but this is the one that can catch you off guard. Okay. Now, by the way, before you do this, make sure the cotter pin is in your primer pickup tube. Without a doubt, these are the best primer pickup tubes on the market. Redding's nailed it. I really like my Dillons, and I thought the Dillons were the best. No, these rock. I would get rid of all my other primer tubes and have just these. That's how good these are. Absolutely. This is all I'll buy now. It's it. Okay. So now, you guys are laughing, aren't you? Like, geez, what's happening over there? I just knocked my heater half over. So now that we have our primer tube filled, come over here, load the primers. By habit. Can you guys believe I did that? Don't do that. Don't do that. You guys are laughing. Time to take a break. Okay. I will win. Alright, right now Steve M's just laughing a million miles an hour. That's okay. Alright guys. Take a break. Take a break. I did not mean to pull up on that. Okay, while I'm doing this, I'm going to read comments. So, I only dropped one primer. So, what are y'all loading on tonight? Who's loading on what? Who's loading on what, man? One more. Come on. Come on. There we go. And I only lost one. I did pretty good. Maybe. Nope. Alright guys, bear with me. Bear with me. I think I lost two on the ground. But I don't care. I just don't care. It's Friday night. I don't have to go to work for 3 days. I don't care. I could drop 2 primers for the next 2 days and I wouldn't really care. Don't do it this way. You could blow your finger off. Okay, now. Alright. Okay. Okay, hang on guys, hang on, hang on. Now who wants to see me do it again? Okay. You guys see this? Pull a primer and don't lift the tube up. And don't lose your cotter pin. Whatever you do. Now, get your protective shield on. This is designed to where if you have ignition, it goes straight up and takes the bill of your hat off and nothing else. So I'm going to pause just for a minute. I want to look at the comments. You guys are just chatting away. That's awesome. You guys are just so great. You just humble me, man. One off, just follow along, man. It's pretty easy. Of course, I don't know how to reload, but hey, all the other guys will teach you. Okay, so we got our primers. Now, this is how this is going to work. Okay? Before we prime these, we're going to make a dummy round, okay? So now we're going to set our seat die into position. You know it's the seat die because hang on guys. Okay, I got it. You guys can tell I don't have a lot of room. So, I had to loosen this, okay? You know it's a seat die because when you pull the seat stem, okay, that's what we're going to seat our bullet with. See, it's just going to cradle that bullet and seat it right into the casing. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you how an easy way to seat bullets. Okay, just get this started. Don't thread it too far down. Okay, back it up to where it's just barely threaded. Now, what we don't want to do is we do not want to use this die for crimping. This die we can crimp with, but we're going to use the profile crimp. Now, listen to me, because guys they'll ask this. It's like, I don't know if they missed this part of the video or not, but you don't seat and crimp on the same step of the process. You can get away with it, but it's recommended not to. In a minute, I will show you why. Okay? So, run the shell holder all the way up. You're going to take this die and thread it down until you touch the shell holder. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to kill a case for you, okay? That die is set up for crimp. If this was a 44 mag only die, it wouldn't crimp down that far. But it's also, it has to be able to crimp for for 45 or 44 special as well. So we have to remove that crimp. To do that, we're going to back it out 1, 2 turns. Now, take a case, and now that you saw us destroy that one, do this very slowly. Come up. We're touching. We don't want to crimp. Back this out until, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, man. I'm watching my camcorder. We're going to back the die out. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to back the die out 2 turns. Watching my camcorder. There. You're not touching that die. Now, you can run this die down until you kind of feel it touch. Alright? So I'm going to do that over. Okay? Okay. We're touching the shell holder. Back your die out, the die body. 1, 2 turns. And I'm touching. Back it out a little more until there's no interference. That is where you want the body of the die set. Now hold the body and run your lock ring down just like that. Okay? Now we're ready to seat. We're going to seat a bullet, and I'm going to show you why you don't seat and crimp on the same step of the process. Okay? So I'm going to, not this cartridge, this is a bad one. I'm going to come over here, and we're going to expand the mouth. Because if we don't expand it, this is what will happen. You see the beginning of this case wanting to buckle? That's the beginnings of wanting to buckle. And if you don't have enough expansion, that whole case it'll wave. You'll see it. Sometimes you won't, but your revolver will catch it, okay? So, you're going to come over here like this, expand the mouth of the case. So now when we take the bullet and we set it in that mouth, that's how Redding does it. Okay? Just this easy. This is how Redding does it. It's that easy, okay? So now, and you want to get the bullet as perfectly vertical to that case as you can. This is unacceptable. That is wrong. Okay, if you seat that bullet like that, that's going to buckle the case and it won't chamber. So let's say, okay, let's say we make our dummy round and it fits. Let's just say that. But then we come over and we start loading, we do a sloppy job. Some of those cases are going to be ill fit and you won't find it until you get to the range, okay? So, right there. And the Redding die, I love it because it will help you with that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start seating it into this case. We don't have primer or powder, so the nice thing is we're doing this without working with the danger stuff, right? This is the nice thing about a turret press. We can get the die set up, make the dummy round, make sure we have chamber fit, and then we can start loading. So now what I'm going to do, back your seat stem out a little bit and come down. Now lower it until you're touching that bullet. Now watch this. I'm going to show you where I'm going to crimp to. Okay? You're saying what's the cartridge overall length? I'm saying no. This is my crimp groove, and I am going to seat this by eye. And I think I overdid it, but that's okay. We need 1.560. I overseated it. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to show you this. I overseated it, but not by much, by about 15 thousandths. I'm going to turn my seat stem out about half. I can pull that bullet and I can resize that case. That's not a problem. Okay. Now, 1.560. I'm 15 thousandths too high. I'm 7 thousandths too high, just to show you this. Okay. Four thousandths too high. .560 on the button. You want to know how I did that? I was watching this. Okay, watch. I zeroed it in to my crimp groove. That's what I've got my eye on. All of your okay. I don't know how many of you have the Lyman mold books. I know that Walter Bunning does. He naturally will. I know that Bullet for Brains will. But all your bullet molds, those crimp grooves are set to the depth in which you are going to seat that bullet. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't adjust a bullet a little higher or lower for accuracy, for trying to dial one in, but I've never had to do that. I've never held those kind of accuracy standards, but I've talked to guys that, and you'll read articles about that. But basically, how it works is out of your load data manual, whether it's a cantilever or a crimp groove, you know, your jacketed bullets have a cantilever. You're just going to seat to that cantilever. Now, on your cantilever and your crimp groove, You want to be at the upper 90% of that groove. That's where you want the mouth of the case to come to. You don't want it at the bottom. You want it at the upper 90% so you can get a nice crimp, and it will hold against that. That's where you want that, okay? So now this thing of, are we too long, too dangerous, pressures? No, you're in the crimp groove. It's okay. So now we're ready to go ahead and, this looks nice. This looks really nice. That's a nice round. This was a fun, fast action round. Bang, 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 bang. And very accurate, okay? Now, you see, there is no, we're not shaving any lead off that bad boy. That is what you want. So, when we crimp this, we're not going to have any lead shavings under the mouth of that case. That is an absolute no-no. That's a no-no. You don't want that. That doesn't mean that when you crimp this, you might get a little, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, that's a different lead shaving. So now, our profile crimp. I've got this figured out. I'm going to zoom this in because you got to see this. Just like you had to see me dump my primers in a live stream. Oh my gosh. For the world to see. That's okay. I don't care. Alright. You guys are going to, if you haven't learned by now, we all make mistakes. Alright. We just get in there and keep it swinging. PRW Hunter. Hi, boy. Nice to see you live. Nice to see you, brother. Okay, this is how this works. I'm going to put the case up there. Okay? The cartridge, the dummy cartridge. Now watch this. Watch that die. This die will stand up. See how it's got some wiggle? Watch this. I got a long way to go. I ran this die enough, I know. Yeah, not even close. There, it stood up. You see that? You see that? Now watch. I'm going to back it off. Okay, you see that? Now watch. Now, baby. A little bit. Now watch. Oh yeah, it's doing business. Redding has it down, and it will tell you, I've got it. Now what it's doing is it's taking the mouth of that case and it's beginning its molding. It's also doing something else. It's removing that bell. It's removing the bell, and it's taking this and it's tapering, but it's going to put a little roll on it too. Okay. This is the same taper crimp die I'm using for my 310 grain bullet. Okay. Okay, I want to ask Walter a question. There's going to be a delay, so I'm going to hold this here for a few seconds. But Walter, how does it look? I think I have a little too much crimp for it being a reduced load, but it's acceptable. And the other thing, when you are, I'm going to back this off now. Now, you can still get a little bit of lead buildup, but you can take your finger and run it off there if you have it, and that will keep that from going into the forcing cone. So Walter Bunny, if you're there, how's it look? Does it look pretty good? don't see Walter, and I'm reading the comments while I'm holding this. But that's what you want it to look like. This is our dummy round. Now, we've got chamber fit. That's what you want. Don't hold your revolver over the concrete like this. It makes me very nervous. Okay? That's what you want. Perfect fit. Okay? So we have our dummy round. So now we are ready to set our powder charge. So what I'm using, this is the Reading Competition 10X pistol and small rifle powder measure. Now, before you put your powder into your powder measure, okay, think about it. You do not want to have some in this. Sometimes a powder measure can hold a dozen charges. So you'd sit there and fill a dozen cases with the wrong powder, okay? So, okay. I got some like little flakes, but nothing bad, okay? So, now, this is the charge I'm running. And I know what charge I want to run on this, okay? We're running the 200 grain round. Okay, by the way, okay, for those that don't know, I should have told you this. If you go to Oregon Trail's website, you can download this. This is a very inexpensive manual through them, but for cheap, you can download this at no cost. Okay, and I'm going to review the comments. I see you guys chatting. Sounds like some good stuff. So I'm done here. We'll review the comments. So, all right. So what I'm running with is I'm going to run, our min charge is 4.5, our max is 6. I'm running 5. That's what I'm running on this load. That's what I run. It's a nice load, just nice bang bang, quick trigger time. Now listen to me. On the 4.5, don't start at the 4.5. Remember what I said? On a fast burning powder, it drops off fast. If you've got your powder measure set for 4.5 and you accidentally for some reason start drifting and you're throwing 4.3 and 4.2, all of a sudden you're going to get one stuck right in the bore. If you want to run 4.5, hand weigh every one of them to 4.5. Let's go no less than 4.7 to start. Okay, I'm going 5. Now, if you want to work up, you can, but you always work up incrementally. You know, half grain increments. Then once you start, okay, you don't have to worry about this with these reduced loads, but this will help some of you guys loading for the 44 Magnum. Like on my Magnums, like when I'm running H110, you know, I try to find an accuracy load, but on a hard cast bullet, you do want to get that as much energy as you can because it's about penetration. You're trying to break bone. You're trying to stop an animal in its tracks like a moose or whatever you're wanting to shoot. So if you are working on a Magnum load and you say, okay, what's the max I can run without going past what the book's saying? Let's just say your book's calling for 19 grains. Let's say your min's charge is 17 and your max charge is 19. You're like, well, can I run 19? You don't want to just run 19. You might do that in August and, you know, scatter your revolver. So you would start at the 17 and you would step it up in half grain increments. But when you start seeing the primer flattening, at that point, then you're going to keep going in 1/10 of a grain increments until it won't eject. When that case doesn't want to eject out of the cylinder, your pressures are too high and it's just flat, expanding that case so much man, too much is happening, then you're going to back it down from there. And then you're going to check it for accuracy. If you don't have accuracy, then you've got to start walking down a little bit. But that's how I do it. It's just how I do it. Many other guys don't do it that way, but I do. A flattened primer doesn't always mean, a flattened primer isn't always an indicator of too much pressure, but a stuck case is. A stuck case is. So, okay, so I'm going to run 6 grains. Let me get my pointer. I think it's better than my knife. So, this is the Redding model number 2 powder bullet scale. This is my favorite scale out of all of them, out of the digitals and everything. I like my Dillon D Terminator digital scale. That's a good scale. So, all right, I need 6 grains. So, if you have a beam type scale and you want to know how to read it, this is what you're going to do. You see this 500 here? Take 500 and divide it by all those little lines, and that will tell you the value of each line. So what we have is we have 100 lines. My glasses are so blurry. If we divide 500 by 100, but 500 by 100, that's going to give us, we have 5 grains per line. So we need 6 grains, okay? On my Redding model number 2 scale, and I'm going to turn this so you guys can see it. I'm trying to watch the camcorder and everything, so I'm getting a little frustrated here. Okay, so what I'm dealing with is the latency. I'm trying to watch this, but then I want to see what you guys can see. So I got to pause until I turn it. I'm like 15 seconds behind, I think. Okay, I think that's going to work. So, make sure your scale's zeroed. We're zeroed out. Make sure your small poise and large poise are at 0, and we're 0. So, each line is going to be worth, on the left side of your balance, is going to be worth 5 grains. We want 6 grains. So I'm going to adjust that poise one line. That's 5 grains. Over here, there's 1 grain, 2 grain, 3 grain, 4 grain, 5 grains. Your whole number is a grain. And then these are our tenths. I want 6 grains. Okay? Now, listen very carefully. Okay? I'm not being funny. If you double charge Bullseye, you're going to blow your gun up. If this is 2 marks and you run off that, you're going to blow your gun up. Okay? And I had a guy tell me that's why he runs a digital scale. But then he calls me back and says, you won't believe it. My digital scale is giving me bad numbers. So, whether you're running digital or a beam, you have to make sure that you're doing it right. And I will tell you something. Numbers never lie. Gravity doesn't lie. If this is zeroed and you know how to read it and you double check yourself, you'll be fine. So, I'm going to get in your way here for a minute because I really have to shoot these. 5, 6. I'm good to go. So, now, am I doing okay? Gosh, we got 24. That's awesome. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fill my powder hopper. And what I need to do is move my cases. Now, you're only going to have 1 powder out, and that's all. Okay? 1 powder out. Now, All right. When you seat your primer has to be past flush. In a minute I'm going to explain what I just did, and I'll zoom in and I'll let you see the action of how I'm doing everything. You don't want that primer riding high, because as you're indexing the cylinder of the revolver, you don't want that rubbing up against the recoil shield. Okay? So we have our primer. Now, the first thing we're going to do, uniform your powder measure. Okay, think of a pepper shaker. We're just getting all of our powder settling. I have to turn this just a little bit. I want you guys to be able to see this, but I got to operate it too. Now what you're going to do is you're going to begin throwing charges. Run 3 or 4 just like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do this, and bear with me. What I'm about to weigh, I'm going to weigh on my digital scale, because I don't want to have to be running this all over the place. But I'm going to show you how I get my Reading powder measure dialed in to exactly where I want it. Okay? Does one of you have your calculator open? Who has their calculator open? Okay. Okay. All right. I want somebody to take 80. Okay, this is what I did. On my micrometer, I've maxed it out to 80. And I threw my first charge off that. So I want somebody to take 80 and divide by 15. That's what that charge measures. What's 80 divided by 15 times that by the charge we want is 6, and what do we get? Okay, I don't. Okay. There's a lot of conversation going on, and that's okay. So, this is what I do to get my powder measure dialed in. I take and I max my micrometer out. I set it at 80, and I throw my first charge. My first charge weighed 15 grains. I take 80 and divide it by the 15, and I multiply that by the charge I want, which is 6, and we come out with 32. So that means if I set this to 32, I should be somewhere close. and I think I'm going to be high. Yeah, I knew I was high because I know what 6 grains of Bullseye should look like, and that was too much. But this gets me in the ballpark. Oh my gosh, Carl nailed it. Carl nailed it. That's pretty much it. So the actual setting for this was 28.8, so that was pretty close to 32. So that little formula that I run, it works, okay? Every time you make an adjustment on that, you run it a few times, okay? There we go. That's awesome. That is so awesome. So now, once you get it dialed in, you want 3 in a row. You want 3 in a row. Come on. It's such a small weight. It almost doesn't want to kick that beam in. But look at that. That is awesome. Okay, if you get a crummy one like that, do it over. There we go. And now I'm going to put this back to where I can comfortably get to it. There we are. So, once you get your powder measure dialed in to whatever charge you want to throw, like we're throwing 6, actually I was supposed to go 5. That's okay, I'm going to run 6. I'm not worried about it. Because 6, that's okay. But once you get it dialed in to where you want it, then you're going to check, make sure 3 in a row are perfect, okay? So I was going to go 5. I set it up for 6. It's okay. It's not always the easiest thing to read comments. Watch your latency and keep going. It's okay. All right. That's one thing nice about these loads. A max charge, it's not going to hurt you, okay? If this was a Magnum, then that would be different. All right. So, it's going to go something like this. That's it. That's the first real McCoy. Okay? But now, this is how we're going to do this. And I'm not going to load all of these. I'm just going to do a few so you guys can see how this works. I'm going to zoom this in. Just like that. I'll back out just a little so you can kind of see. Normally I would have this over here, but I want you guys to be able to see this. So I'm going to go something like this. I'm going to come around here. I'm going to resize and decap. As I come up with the case, I come back with the handle and I seat the primer, okay? And check the primer. Okay. Okay. This is how I run this, so I get a cadence and I can put a nice amount out. I can do about 150 rounds. One of the problems I have is when I go for my Dillon 650 and my Dillon 550 and a single stage into here, I kind of got to get my rhythm. But this is how you do it. I have my left hand on the handle. As soon as the case comes out, I go forward. Now, when I grab this, I come back, I come down and I come back, and I prime. The minute I let go of this, I come up here and I put my turret back. Okay, that's how I do it, and I do it the same every time. Okay. Yeah. I have no idea what happened with that thing. That case has a bad rim. That's what that is. Alright, well, that's okay. Start over. There we go. Just like that. So, the reason I do it this way is I'm not going to charge my cases until I can charge them all at the same time. Sometimes you might miss a primer. And I want to talk about that in just a second. My primers are hanging up. Come on. Come on, Betsy. Come on. Only in a live video. So, that's alright. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can fix this. I actually really like this priming system. It's a very good priming system. But for some reason, I have one that's being a little ornery. There we go. That might have been a primer that was kind of up on its side. Think of like a tire on a car, right? And so I just kind of reached down and pulled the primer cup down. That's all I did. So, okay, I'm going to start over with this case. There we go. Okay, get my cadence back down. So I'm going to come over here, resize Dcap, just like that. Now, what I'm doing, I'm placing my cases primer up. And what this does for me is, with the glare of my light, it helps me to identify a primer that might be running high. You don't want that. So I'm just going to do 15, just like that. So So now, I'm going to come over here like this. And I'm going to flip them. Just like that. And normally, all of these would be primed. But I want to make sure that I'm only going to charge the cases that have primers. Okay? So, these are my cases that have primers in them. Okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this. Real quick, David Rice, thank you so much. Brother, thank you so much. You're one of my older subscribers, man. I love you, brother. Am I doing okay? Yeah, am I doing okay? I mean, am I confusing anybody? Confusing the heck out of anybody? Oh, okay, text Pat. What was the formula? Take your max reading off your micrometer. So you're going to adjust the micrometer for the max reading. So I adjusted this to 80. You can do yours to 100, but mine doesn't quite go to 100. But I go to the largest 10-figure number, like 80, right? And I zero it. I dead zero it. I throw the charge and I weigh it. So I take 80, divide that by the charge you get off of it, and then multiply that by the charge you want, and that will give you your reading. That's your rise over your run, okay? Thanks, Rollbacker. So now we're ready to charge our cases. Now, listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. I'm going to back this up a little bit. Listen to what I'm about to say. Some guys want to do one at a time. One at a time. But doing it one at a time, repetitious, the human mind isn't really built for that. Especially on a stressful day. You can skip this part of the process and you can seat the bullet and crimp. And you think it's done. And you put that in with the mix. Okay? So that would mean all you have is a primer backing that. When you pull the trigger, and if you're going fast, that's going to stick it right in the bore, and the next one's a full charge, you blow your gun up. So, whenever you're working single stage, you do not, you know, some guys do it if they want, that's fine. But for me, I resize, decap, expand, and now we're going to throw our charge, and this is why. Now, once you get so far into there, you got to flip the tray over. Now, I have charged all those, just like that. Now, don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. Now that I've charged those, this gives me the chance to take my flashlight and verify that every one of them has a charge, but none of them has a double. Okay? Take your time. Be very conscientious of what you're doing. So now I know every case has a charge. I know not one of those is double charged. With Bullseye, you don't want to double charge your case, okay? So now, guess what we're ready to do? Now we are ready to seat and crimp our bullet. I'm going to take the handle off my turret, relocate it. Now, I like this. I like that. I like that. Now, when you do hard cast, stop and take a moment and take your fingernail and run it around there to make sure there's no wire of lead on there, okay? Just like that. So, I'm going to sit here and seat and crimp. And one thing I haven't done, I haven't tightened down my dies for the video, but you want to do that, okay? Get your dies tightened down. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. So, okay, so thank you, One Off. Thank you. Outrageous Bob, doing well. Well, thank you. You know, I got off work and you guys, I gotta tell you, Miss Highboy, she's a little under the weather. So I came home and I thought, well, you know, we ate dinner and I thought, I'm just gonna go reload some 44 mag. I got some itching to send some 44 mag down range. And I thought, well, I'm just gonna do a live stream. So I think I might do this more often. What do you guys think? Whenever I want to do a reload session, I just turn it on and do a reload session. And I'm going to finish these up and I'm going to read some comments. With this T7, I can put a lot out, If I sat out here for, oh my gosh, for 4 hours on a Saturday, yeah, I could have, I don't know, 500 or 600 rounds put out, no problem, and I have a good time doing it. I like to reload. I've always liked it. So, I want you guys to sound off how long you've been reloading. How many months or years, or maybe it's just been minutes. Sound off. Let you get a close-up of these last three. So, you know, you can let the bullet go like that, but you know, don't be afraid to guide it up like that as well. You know, you can do that. Okay, you guys don't see this. For some reason, it didn't jive. You see the the bullet seat indentation, the case. It just didn't jive for whatever reason. The reason I forced it is because it was stuck up there, and no, we won't get fit we won't get fit. Okay. So, something happened with this. Something happened. 4.4. Do you know what happened? Who can tell me what happened? Who can tell me what happened? That's a 45 Colt bullet. So my box had a bullet from a 45 Colt. That's what happened. I was probably at one time comparing one of these or looking at a 45 Colt. I threw it in that box. So the mysterious things that can happen, you know. So now at this point I'm going to kind of back this out. Maybe not. At this point I'm done. You know, you can take these now. If it doesn't fit, could be a dirty cylinder, okay? Right. But you should have fit, and it should just slip right out, okay? If it doesn't clean your cylinder, right? I put quite a bit out of that with these Oregon Trails, and I put some of the 310 grains through that actually, and and I haven't cleaned it yet. I haven't cleaned this. I've got a box and a half of these through this. Let me get a bore light. I'll show you what the bore looks like. So I bought two of these Rigger Super Blackhawks. I kind of wanted matching ones, you know. But I've been shooting this one the most. All my flashlights are dead. Hang on. All right. Hey, sometimes you got to use a Craftsman. This is what this bore looks like. I shot about a box and a half of those 310 grain through this. That's just what it looks like. And this is couple months. Doesn't tell you how often some of my revolvers I don't clean. I just don't. The components that we use today, they're not corrosive, you know. What's in this isn't going to corrode this. I shoot this on a pretty much a regular basis, taking it over to the indoor range or out to the desert. So I'm telling you, anybody that wants to come shoot my gun, come over here to the indoor range. I'll let you put 100 rounds through this, and I'll let you inspect the bore. I'm just telling you. That's it. That's just like glass. Okay? So I can take these 200 grain bullets. I'll put a box of 500 through this rigger so fast, and guess what? I won't lose my accuracy. I don't have to go home. I don't have to sit there and scrub my barrel, sit there all bummed out and upset. Now I got to redevelop the load. Here's how it works. Here's how it works. Different calibers have different pressures, okay? And so for one caliber to have a lower pressure, you can fit the Brinell hardness of a particular bullet to that caliber. It doesn't have to be as hard of a bullet, the pressures aren't as much. When you start getting into the higher pressure, big magnums, then you start getting into the hard cast. But the problem is it doesn't matter. If you start pumping them up too much, you like to shoot hot loads, right? You start loading those up too much, you're going to start having leading issues. What I like about these bullets here is the Brinell hardness of 24. They've got you covered on anything. You can take that 24 Brinell hardness bullet and you can run it in a 38 special with 15,000 psi, 44 special, in that same neighborhood of low pressures, or you can put it in that big 350 44 Magnum with 36,000 psi, and you are not going to lead that bore. And that, to me, as a reloader and be able to go to the desert and do what I do, go to the range. Guys, I've been shooting this gun since moose season. Since moose. That's how long it's been since I cleaned this. That's what I've been shooting through it. So there you go. And any day of the week, I'll tell you, if you met me, I'll let you shoot that. I'll let you shoot it, and you can verify it and say, yeah, that is just a clean. But you know what? Just go buy a box, put it through there, and you'll see. So there we go. How did I do? Oh, okay. Talk about powder-coated bullets. I have some. You want to see some powder-coated bullets? Because our awesome buddy, Bullet for Brains, he sent these. And what I'm going to say, everybody has opinions, okay? If you don't agree with me, you don't agree. I mean, that's okay, all right? I always say, take what you want, leave what you don't. Back about 80s, 1980s, they had the Master bullet lube. They had all kinds of bullet lubes. They had then they started coming with the powder coating bullets and Teflon coated bullets, Molly lube bullets, everything. It didn't matter how good it was if that bullet was undersized for the bore. It's a .429 diameter bore we're working with. If it's undersized, it doesn't matter how good your powder coat is, anything, you don't have anything, okay? But here has always been my problems with powder coating. Take what you want, leave what you don't. All those Kool-Aid flavors you drink? They've got red, they got green, they got blue. If you really broke the ingredients down that, you think that's what's really good for you? Probably not, right? Okay. Some of the powder coated bullets, just some of, stuff coming off that would kill you. If you breathed it in large quantities, it would flat freaking kill you. lead vapors in an indoor range, it does put off vapors, but the modernized good indoor ranges with the air evacuation systems they have now, not a problem. With these Oregon Trail bullets, there's very little. I'm over there with my 1911 cranking my 9mm out, running through 400 rounds, and no one's saying anything about my lead vapors. No one even knows, okay? The lead's the real deal. That's not to say that some powder coated, there might have some powder coated out there that are safe, I don't know. But I do know in years past researching them, what was in those was not good. Here's the other thing about powder coated bullets. Some of the powder coated bullets have abrasive materials, which, guess what? You're going to have to scrub right out of your bore, and it's abrasive. I'm not saying all of them because I'm behind the curve. I haven't checked them out. Let me show you some powder coated bullets that Bullet for Brains sent. First of all, Bullet for Brains has his own YouTube channel. In the description box below, I'll place a link to it, but if you put Bullet for Brains. Hey, Bullet for Brains, are you there? Bullet for Brains. I think it's all one word. You'll find him. He's got a little YouTube channel. He loves 44 Magnum. He's casting his own bullets, and he sent these to me. I just talked to him tonight. Okay, these are 300 grain flat nose. Okay, he's got some 250 grain semi-wad cutters, and he's telling me with these powdered bullets, he's going anywhere from 700 feet per second up to 1,400 feet per second, and he can shoot a couple hundred with no leading issues. Okay. Okay. Bullet for Brains. He's just commented. Is that the exact name of your channel? Bullet for Brains. This guy's awesome. He's awesome. Okay, I don't care for A-locks. I never did. I gotta tell you guys something. I grew up with my dad. He casted bullets. For a brief time on my own, I casted them. I hated liquid Alex. It's all sticky. You know, I don't mind the loops and stuff. Now here's the thing, Walter. I haven't worked with the... I haven't done nothing with the powder. The only thing I know is what I read and what people tell me. So that's why I say take what you want, leave what you don't. But you know, with modernized, you know, they've got to be getting it down. I will say that. Okay. So what I'm saying is maybe before you get into powder coating, you research what powder coat you're using. Is that fair to say, Walter? Would that be fair to say? That's all I'm going to say. So I don't think there's any problem with them. And I'm going to be loading some of these up, and maybe I'll do you guys want me to do a little load series? You guys want me to do a live workshop loading what Bullet for Brains sent? Let me know. While I'm waiting for a response there, okay, I'm going to show you the colors, and then I want you guys to tell me which color you like the best, okay? And then I'll tell you which one I like the best. Walter says yes, fair to say I did the homework. Yeah, that's the only thing. When you're pulling the trigger on this stuff, you got to know what's on that bullet. You really do. Okay. The first ones are red. Okay. That's the first color he sent me. What I do like about the powder coated bullets is you can color coat different bullet weights, different bullet designs. So I like that. I think that's kind of neat. Okay. Black. They're nice. You don't see them coming in the dark. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Purple. Purple. Blue! The bullets are blue! They're blue! The bullets are blue! Okay, whatever. Hey, it's Friday, it's getting late. Okay, the last ones. Silver. Which color do you guys like best? Those were all coated with Eastwood powder coating. I never even heard that. I'll just have to look it up. I don't know anything about it. I think what I'm fascinated about them is that he's saying he's pumping these up to 1,400 feet per second, and he's not having problems. I mean, he's not getting leading. So I like that. Walter Bunning, Eastwood. Okay, I'll just have to check it out. I don't know anything about it. But right now, I'm not casting because it's just too busy. So, Miss Highboy likes the purple. I didn't even know if she was still awake. Hi, baby. What colors do y'all like the best? We got blue and purple. We got red and black. And silver. Okay, while I'm waiting, Rooster Orr, he liked the purple. That's so nice. You guys like that? Actually, I like purple. Purple's a great color. It's a color of royalty. While you guys are sounding off on colors, I'm going to tell Pure Evil Bandit. How does it affect bullet expansion? Cast bullets don't expand. A jacketed bullet expands. A jacketed bullet has soft lead in the core. It expands. You don't want a cast bullet. You want it to hold as much form and mass as you can, and it's sheer penetration. So only thing the powder coating does. All right. Walter, am I right on this? Powder coating keeps it from leading by it's a heat barrier. Now, some guys, I don't agree with this. I don't agree. I'm limited on the topic, the information, but I don't agree with this. Some guys say it causes it to be more lubricated. If it's more lubricated, that means it's going to slip out the bore quicker and you're not going to have the velocities you need. So I would think powder coating. See, the thing about hard cast and soft cast bullets is the friction against the bores is such that it maintains pressure. Okay, so with powder coating, in my mind, I'm thinking this Eastwood stuff, they have to be engineering it to where it's not lubricated to slip out of there, or you're not going to have, it's just not going to work. So what the powder coating does in my mind is it's a heat barrier, okay? And it's because of that, this bullet, you don't have the gases, and of course the powder coating is helping seal naturally, but it's also that heat's what gets you. And so it seals and it's able to keep that bullet together. That's what we want. Am I right on that, Walter? Walter Bunning, he shoots powder-coated pistol caliber bullets out of my Henrys at 1,500, no problem. Yeah. Powder-coated encapsulates the bullet. Less lead vapor, no lead vapor. Testing shows only a slight feet per second advantage over traditional lube. Yes, but the vapor point of the powder coat is lower. The vapor point, but it's lower because the powder coating has the ability to the heat can't penetrate. If the heat could penetrate, then you would have the vapor. So what I'm saying is the powder coating, it is basically a heat barrier. Try the powder coating. Let's see how it works. Yeah, I think we should. Tony Owen said he'd like to see a live, maybe, I don't know, maybe tomorrow or Sunday I'll do a live workshop. We'll load the powder coated. We'll do the okay, I'm going to tell you what color I like. I love the silver. I'm just a kind of a plain Jane guy. I like the silver. These are 250 grain semi-wad cutters. We'll do some Keith loads. Oh, some Keith loads, yeah. Yes, heat won't burn the, yeah, that's right. The heat won't burn the powder off. So you still have the heat. You still have the heat, but the powder coating, it's a barrier against that, and it doesn't make it slip out of there any quicker. Okay, it's just as a function of keeping that heat away, and it helps seal. So. Yeah, your recovered bullets, the powder is still on them. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I've seen them out in the desert. You'll see a bullet and it's got coloring on it, and that's what those are. So, how was this? Just off-the-cuff workshop. Okay? Okay? I think powder coated is polymer. I think it's polymer. Am I right? One off says, what about polymer coated bullets? Does anyone use them? I think powder coating is polymer. Yeah, a lot of interchange. No, you guys all the man. And if Kay was out there, she's the woman. So's my wife. So I saw what were y'all talking about earlier? Was someone having a problem? Listen, Becker, were you having a problem? Your Ruger Blackhawk after firing all the cases stuck in the cylinder? Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh boy. Hey, what powder were you using? What powder were you using for that? What powder and what caliber? We're going to have a lesson here. Let's talk about this. Tyson Becker. Talking at you, brother. On your cases that were hard to eject, what caliber and what powder were you using? Actually, just tell us the recipe if you can. Okay. I see there were rounds from manufacturers not reloaded. I bet they were nickel plated brass, weren't they? Okay, Tyson. Tyson Becker, are you there? So Tyson was having a problem with factory ammo ejecting out of his cylinder. Like big 460 Smith & Wesson with nickel-plated cases. Those can be kind of ornery. Another thing, if you look into your cylinder, if you see machine marks, that can cause cases to want to stick. Not all cases, but if he bought some factory pretty powerful stuff, those machine marks in there would be enough to want to make that. Sometimes on the firearms, you'll see where they kind of do shoddy machine work, and you'll look in there and you'll see those. That can happen. You're welcome, One Off. Wow, 2 hours and 13 minutes. Well, hey, it's Friday. Alright guys, I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to finish these up here. But first I want to go in and warm up another little drink and come out here and finish it. So I think we're going to call it a night. Okay, Tyson Becker, you're back. Did the cases that were sticking in your revolver, were they nickel plated? Come on, Tyson. Can you guys hear me? Am I talking to myself? You take care too, Walter. God bless you, buddy. Tyson Becker. Tyson, do you hear what I'm asking? On the cases that weren't ejecting out of your revolver, were they nickel-plated cases? Nighty night, Walter. I think Tyson's crashed out or something. If you ever have a nickel-plated case that is a heavy Magnum round and it sticks in your cylinder, when you pull all of them out, check them for cracks, lengthwise splits. Does anybody know why they make nickel-plated brass? Why do they make nickel-plated cases? Anybody? Oh, Tyson has a new girlfriend. Yeah, that will do it every time. Walter, what don't we agree on? What don't we agree on, Walter? Okay, Tyson, yes. They were factory loads, but were the cases nickel plated or were they brass? Won't rust? I don't know what you mean by that, Walter. Oh, Walter got it. Yeah, the reason they have nickel, originally when they came out with nickel plated brass, it was so when you take a knife with a brass handle or You put a brass cartridge case in a leather belt and leave it, it will turn green. It will just that green buildup. So they went to the police officers, when they had their leather belts, they went to nickel. That's why. But now in modern days, they make more of that because on your semi-autos, it's easier to tell that they're loaded in low light conditions. That's why. I don't know that we disagree on powder coats. I just don't know enough about it. I would say that you would probably be more right than me. Hey, thanks, Bullet for Brains. No, I don't think that you're wrong. They were brass cases. Okay, what caliber? What caliber, Tyson? No, Walter, I wouldn't say we disagree. I would say that you just have more knowledge on it than me. You know, it's just a gray area for me. Once I start, you know, I should start casting sooner than later. I could. I'm sitting on 600 plus pounds of lead. I mean, I got it under the bench here. I started saving it like 10 years ago. Before my channel, I wanted to start doing my own casting. The reason I haven't started casting is because my channel keeps me so busy. I haven't had time, that's why. Alright guys, I'm going to call it a night, man. Alright. I will put something together maybe tomorrow. We'll work with these bullets by Bullet with Brains, and we'll get something going. Oh, Tyson, he paused the video so he's behind. Oh, just I think you have more knowledge than me. Yeah, and different experiences. I'll buy that. But you're a good guy. I like you. So, okay, guys and gals, aim for even. Polymer powder coated has post additives. Some post additives are more abrasive than others. Yeah, I wanted to say that, but I just don't know enough about it. Aim Sport, he's awesome. How you doing, Aim Sport? Take care, Pure Evil Bandit. We got Pure Evil Bandit, Aim Sport, Walter Bunning, Tyson Becker, Pure Evil Bandit. Man, we got 29 people on here. Hey, who else on here? I just want to, we got Bullet for Brains. Whoever's on here that can speak, just run a shout out real quick. Run a shout out. I want to see who else on here. TJ Michael, Happy New Year, buddy. Alright guys, I'm clicking out. I'm stopping live stream. We are done. One off, thank you. And now live stream.